All right, today we're going to dive into a really fascinating idea. We're going to play detective a little bit, looking at our universe and asking, is there a grand plan? We're exploring the concept of a mastermind behind the mysterious universe. So let's start with a question that, honestly, most of us have probably asked ourselves at some point, just, looking up at the sky or out at the world and wondering, is all of this just random, or is there something more going on here? Okay, so to get to the heart of the argument, the source material starts with something super simple, something we see every day. On one side, you have things like artistry, creation, and design. And on the other, you've got the artist, the creator, the designer. The whole point is you just can't have one without the other. They're a pair. To really nail this point home, think about the world of art. You hear a name like Vincent van Gogh, and you immediately picture a painting, right? The argument is pretty straightforward. A masterpiece doesn't just, poof, appear on a canvas. It needs an artist. It needs vision and skill and intention. Now here's where it gets really interesting. This source material takes that exact same logic and applies it to nature. I mean, look at a flower. It's incredibly complex, beautiful, intricate. So if a painting needs a painter, who's the artist behind the flower? And this isn't just about art or nature. The argument extends this logic to things we see and use every single day. You see a cool car on the street, you know it came from a factory. You use a computer, you know engineers put it together. An elegant watch, a giant skyscraper. Our brains automatically connect these complex things to an intelligent source. It just makes sense. And then the argument takes this incredible leap in scale, pointing to maybe the most complex thing we know of, the human brain. Just think about that claim for a second. It can hold more information than all the libraries in the world combined. The brain is presented here as this absolute marvel of engineering, something far beyond what we could ever build ourselves. So this is the question that everything has been building up to. It takes all those examples, the painting, the flower, the skyscraper, the brain, and just blows it up to the biggest scale possible. The source is asking, if all these smaller, complex things need a creator, what about the whole universe? Okay, let's zoom way out for a second, to the cosmic level. Check out this number, 106,000 kilometers per hour. That's how fast our planet is whipping around the sun. I mean, can you even imagine something that massive moving that fast, but with total precision? The source presents this as a sign of incredible order, not just cosmic chaos. And to put that into perspective, the source uses a really simple analogy. Think about it. We need a traffic cop just to keep cars from crashing into each other at an intersection. So who's the traffic controller for the entire cosmos? Who's conducting this incredible dance of the planets? So we've looked at the massive scale of space. Now let's flip the script. Let's go all the way down to the micro world. What's amazing is that the source suggests we find that same exact principle of order, not just out there among the stars, but in the tiniest building blocks of everything. And the clue here, according to the source, is in the language we use. We call it the periodic law. We don't call it the periodic chance. That little word law is a huge deal. It suggests a system, a set of rules, not just a random jumble of stuff. And this idea of laws isn't just for chemistry. It's everywhere. The universe seems to run on these incredibly precise and unbreakable rules. The laws of physics, optics, thermodynamics, they're like the flawless blueprints that govern absolutely everything. Okay, now let's bring this lens all the way in and get personal. The source makes a really interesting distinction here between the things we get to choose in life, our job, our education, our partner, and the things we absolutely don't choose, like who our parents are, what our face looks like, or our natural intelligence. And that, of course, leads to a pretty huge question, doesn't it? If we don't get to pick these fundamental things about ourselves, then who or what does? And how are those decisions even made? So in response to that very question, the source introduces another one of these fundamental laws, the law of karma. Quoting from this ancient text, it suggests that karma is another one of these flawless laws, but this one operates on a personal level. The idea is that our circumstances in life are a direct result of our past actions. So, from paintings to planets, from the smallest atoms to our own lives, every piece of this argument has been building, and it all leads right here to what the source calls the $2 million questions. And here it is. The source presents us with a choice, a fundamental fork in the road for how we see everything. On one side, you have a universe that started with a big bang and has no real purpose. On the other, a universe created by a big brain, a superintelligence, with the goal of understanding God and life. This is framed as the ultimate choice we all have to make. Now, to back up that intelligent design side of the argument, the source brings in some real heavy hitters from science. It starts with Sir Isaac Newton. I mean, this is the guy who basically wrote the rule book for physics. And even he looked at the solar system and said, there's no way this wasn't designed by an intelligent and powerful being. Then you have this quote from the physicist Lord Kelvin. And wow, he does not mince words here. He's saying that the deeper you go into science, the more it actually forces you to believe in God. It's a pretty bold statement. And this last one, attributed to Albert Einstein, really just ties the whole thing together. It connects those perfect natural laws we were talking about earlier directly to the idea of a perfect brain orchestrating it all. So where does all this leave us? After this journey from a simple painting all the way to the laws of the cosmos, the whole argument boils down to this one final provocative question. The source material doesn't hand us the answer. Instead, it leaves us to think about it for ourselves. Does science, when you follow it all the way to the end, actually point towards something more?